Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
One of the things about my microphone and my setup, though, that I guess it doesn't really matter, is going through the soundboard ends up not doing anything. I have this I have the mixing board, and I've not used it, right? Like, what have I used it for? My own inline microphone? I don't know I guess I'll never use it unless I record in person with someone.
Right.
Which, great, I don't live close to fucking anybody. I don't live close to anyone. We're all pretty... I think the closest is probably... Of, the main group of us, it's probably be you to Father Malone. Have you recorded with Father Malone before?
No.
You've recorded with Cullen?
No.
I guess it was Josh that was on the Deliverance episode with us. You would have been on there if it hadn't been Josh. That's what
the only way that would have happened would have been through you or through Mike. And so I'm not sure if... Colin's a big horror movie fan. Maybe he is, but
yeah,
we'll be talking with him soon. So
yeah. Colin's a good guy.
Yeah, I like him when he's on your show and Mike's show. So he's smart.
Speaking of my show, the Kulturecast, this show, Mark Begley of the letterpressed.com fame. No, Mark Begley of the Wake Up Heavy podcast is here with me, and we are talking not horror movies, which is kind of Mark's... Yeah, that's kind of your raison d'etre, right?
Is it not a horror movie, though?
It is a... yeah. It's an Elvis movie, but, the point here is Father Malone is not here this month on a single episode of this show. But yet the shadow of Father Malone has extended itself into the picks for this month. Because it's You've Never Seen September, and it's the final Elvis movie of the month. And by Jove, it truly just rounds out the month. Because on this episode we're talking about fun in Acapulco.
Bossa Nova.
Bossa Nova.
You can't say no. In Acapulco, where romance blooms and love is in the air. So kiss me tender, love me true, darling, feel this magic too.
Acapulco, the world's paradise of fun, with its luxurious setting, its tropical splendor, its dramatic excitement. Its moments of drama at the top of the famous La Perla Cliffs and the attempt to dive into the treacherous waters below. And with Elvis, Acapulco's most beautiful women as he sings his most lyrical musical score.
Viva el vino, viva el dinero, viva, viva el amor.
Elvis, wanted by the shapeliest playmates in Mexico. From the younger set who adores him, to a lady bullfighter who learned her talented passes in the corrida, and a beautiful gal in a bikini who's the shape of things to come.
Oh, it must be a very important mission that sends you off in such a hurry.
If you must know, I'm on my way to La Perla to see your girl.
Oh, the chica wants to get to the other side of the road.
You better move.
Why don't you move me?
Who makes me tremble with wonderful rapture, with one burning glance from her eye. Margarita! Mexico, they've got muchachos amigos. Hay colomitos inolvidables, inolvidables como las tardes, con el lupio desde la loma, en esa silla
Buenas noches.
Good evening to you, señorita.
Why do you leave so soon? We just start to have fun. It's time for a working girl to be in bed. Is there any special time?
I said, take it easy, baby, I worked all day and my feet feel just like lead. You got my shirt tails flying all over the place and the sweat popping out of my head. She said, hey, bossa nova, baby, keep on working, for this ain't no time to quit. She said, go, bossa nova, baby, keep on dancing, I'm about to have myself a fit. Bossa nova, bossa nova.
Your kids could get free or low-cost health coverage from Medicaid or CHIP. Even if you've applied before, they may be eligible now. Kids up to age 19 are covered for checkups, vaccines, dentist visits, hospital care, and more. And if they already have Medicaid or CHIP, remember to renew every year. Visit insurekidsnow.gov or call 877-KIDS-NOW. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
God, oh dear, dearie, dear, dear.
So let me ask you, since I never know when I'm on one of these, what other movies did you do?
Roustabout.
Okay.
King Creole. And Girl Happy. But technically we didn't watch Girl Happy because we missed that episode.
Oh.
I did watch it, but we didn't do an episode on it. So
I've heard of all of those. I've heard of Fun in Acapulco.
Sure have.
I've heard of all the numerous Elvis movies, and I've never sat through one before in my life prior to yesterday.
Let me ask you, Mr. Begley, is there a reason for that?
Well, if just I want to apologize again. I seem to apologize on your episodes generally because if Elvis fan has Googled Elvis podcasts and they come across your series of episodes and they listen to them and they get to this one, they're going to be unhappy because I don't know anything about Elvis movies. The reason is I've really never had much of an interest in Elvis Presley as a person or as a performer. I grew up when he was still alive and was in the very last years of his career and his life, obviously. So I knew
there wasn't kind of a difference there for Elvis, unfortunately.
Right. I knew of him. He was a cultural phenomenon and a pop culture phenomenon. And he died, I was 8. So I remember it being a huge deal. And I can understand that because he was beloved by a lot of people who were much older than me. And, through the years, I'd pick up on stuff and how big he was in the 50s, air quotes, started rock and roll, which is greatly debated. I mean, it isn't the way it works anyway. Appropriated rock and roll.
Whoa, hey now. I've been told by people much smarter than me to leave Elvis alone.
Oh, well, fuck it. I don't care.
Anyone worth their salt would know that that's just the way it was, and it's unfortunate. But it's the way it was.
You can't explain that away. I'm sorry.
No, you cannot. I agree.
But I knew of him. I knew he had been big as a music performer and went into the army, made the switch to movies. That basically killed his music career or his serious music career, and then had this resurgence because of that 68 performance where he kind of regained some old glory and then went to Vegas. So I knew those bits and pieces of his life. I watched the John Carpenter TV movie with Kurt Russell as Elvis and remember really liking it. I think I probably saw it a couple times when I was young. I'm sure it played more than once.
Love to see that.
I remember liking it. I don't know how it would hold up today.
If you and I hadn't been hitting this episode this late in the month, that would totally have been an amazing bonus episode. Because I've never seen it and I've always wanted to see it. Because it's Kurt Russell and John Carpenter.
I'm very curious. Yeah, the start of their relationship, basically. Yeah, I'm very curious to watch it again, actually. And like I said, I do remember enjoying it. Not enough to become an Elvis fan. I knew a bunch of his music and stuff. And if you kind of go back and dig into the early recordings, the rockabilly stuff, I enjoy some of that.
Yeah, Sun Records stuff's pretty good.
Yeah, but the movies, the music from the movies, I could completely do without. And the Las Vegas stuff. And he just became a caricature of himself. And not that that's what any of this, not that that's what this show has to do with, but that's my experience with Elvis.
It's something, it's one of those things where the visibility of Elvis is such the way that it is that all the bad stuff that happened is so visible, right? Like it's not like some of the stuff that happened to the Rolling Stones where like people maybe never heard of like the Redlands bust. Like, and that's not like a thing that anybody's heard of, but like everybody and anybody and everybody for the most part in the world knows about Elvis and probably knows about like how Elvis died, Fat Elvis, stuff like that.
Right.
That's a thing that's known, and that's few and far between are there artists like that are that well known. Elvis, the Beatles, Michael Jackson. There may be one or two more. We've talked about this on several episodes before with Elvis, but it's Elvis is one of those people, like you've already mentioned, who many facets to his career, many facets to him as a performer. And then you come to something like this, which this feels like the most packaged rubber stamped product I've ever fucking seen in my entire life. It is like one of the cheapest goddamn movies I've ever seen.
It is. I bring this up on your show, I think, more than any other show, but it's Hollywood cynicism to me to the nth degree. The Hollywood artifice is so blatant throughout, and it's not an awful film. I wasn't looking forward to this. I'll be honest with you. As I already mentioned,
I'm glad you're here because there are a lot of people. Look, there's this whole thing with podcasting that doesn't get talked about enough, and I want to bring it up because it needs to get brought up. If someone asks you to be on their show and they're giving you the movie, you don't say, no, I've never seen it before, I don't want to talk about it. Get that shit out of here. You should be open to watching new things. This is, I know for both you and me, Mark, and for almost everybody this month, the reoccurring theme has been, I have never seen an Elvis movie before. But you know what? Like, that's, in a lot of ways, that's okay. Cullen has seen a lot of Elvis movies. But Richard and Trevor and myself and yourself, I clearly hadn't. And that's okay. Because, again, now I kind of know what it's all about, you know?
Yeah, and I think I understood before, like, these were cash grabs, and...
At least the later ones were. This is, again,
right.
Post-Army movies.
Post-Army one, right. But the whole idea of this just being a product really struck me while watching this. And as I was starting to say, I wasn't looking forward to it, but I didn't hate the movie at the end of the day. It's just there. It's a vehicle for songs, to sell albums, to make money at the box office. So it's all just a cynical ball of garbage to me. And I enjoyed the movie to a certain degree. I got some chuckles. Elvis as an actor is not bad. Not that I was really expecting him to be awful, but he's actually one of the better performers in the movie, if I'm honest. I thought he was better than Ursula Andress in her role. But just the look of the movie, the obvious studio set filming, the obvious body double, the obvious, and I kept saying or writing green screen down, but it's rear projection. I don't think they utilized green screen. And it was just so, it was really hard to ignore that and just sit there and go, oh, it's a movie and this is how Hollywood movies are made. And it's all, it's all fake anyway. But to have a little kernel of understanding about why some of this was going on, because Elvis couldn't go to Mexico for whatever reason. And you can read all about that online, his troubled history with Mexico and the rumors that were started about him. And so he didn't film there. They obviously filmed a lot of exteriors there with the other actors and or just, exterior shots. But the body double was so bad, didn't even have a shape similar to Elvis's. He was pretty slender in this film still. This was still slim Elvis.
Right.
And the body double was flabby, had a big old flat ass. You only see him from the back, and it's like, that's obviously not Elvis. The hair wasn't right. So any shot of them, like him riding on the bike with the little kid that ends up being his manager, the precocious kid. We got to have the precocious kid in here.
Right.
And riding in the streets on the bike, not Elvis. Anytime you see real scenery in the background of Acapulco and he's supposed to be there, it's not him. And everything with him is either shot on a set or shot rear projection. And it just became really, what's the word? Distracting. It became really distracting. Probably because I was already sort of set up to not enjoy it all that much, even though I did enjoy aspects of the film.
Yeah. God. For me, sitting here, having watched all these Elvis movies this month, this being like the fourth one, it's clearly the worst one of the four, without a doubt. I mean, you look at the movie that we just talked about. The movie we just talked about, King Creole, came out in 1958. That's right during the Army. He has to get a deferment from the Army to finish the movie. Fast forward 5 years to this movie. It's like a fucking nightmare. It is like a waking nightmare. It's like a fever dream compared to the last movie. Last movie's in black and white. This one's in color. Okay, got that. Right out of the gate, it's completely different. But that movie was almost like Elvis was playing a James Dean light character, if you know what I mean. Kind of like a young troubled youth. In this movie, he's playing. Okay, I don't know what he's playing in this movie.
The backstory is one of the things that tickled me about this.
Oh, the backstory is seeing Elvis in tights is the funniest shit. So Elvis plays Mike Windgren, a former trapeze artist who lives in Mexico because he has PTSD from dropping his brother during a trapeze act.
And killing him.
Yes, this is real. Yes, this happens in this movie. And while he's in Mexico, I guess it turns out Elvis can sing. Who'd have guessed? He's also immensely talented at singing. Again, I really love in these movies how little effort it seems like they're putting into explaining how he can also sing really well. Like, it's like, he's I don't know, he's a gardener, but in his off time he just sings really well. It's like, what the fuck?
And knows all the songs that are going to come up out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and on top of everything else, you wouldn't have to justify him being a singer in every movie if it were a normal
Bugs crashing your pack's party? Whether they've got paws or sneakers, your pack deserves a home that's protected from pests. That's where Wondercide comes in. Plant-powered protection made with steam-distilled natural essential oils that actually work. It kills and repels fleas, ticks, mosquitoes, and ants without questionable ingredients or overpowering smells. Safe to use around kids and pets when used as directed. Lab-proven to work fast. And proudly made in the USA. We offer sprays for pets, people, homes, and yards. Plus, spot-on treatments, collars, and even shampoos. Whatever your pack needs, we've got it covered. Founded by a pet parent looking for a better way to protect her dog Luna, Wondercide's now protected over 21 million lives and counting. You might have even seen us on Shark Tank. Go to Wondercide.com and use code WONDER20 for 20% off your first order. That's WONDER20 at Wondercide.com. Wondercide. Protect your pack with plant-powered Wondercide today.
Hello, this is Aaron West. I am the author of the A24 New Wave. In this book, I look at A24's output and I make the argument that we are in a new wave movement right now. A24 plays a major role. This book has a supplemental podcast where each episode is a brief conversation about an A24 related topic, whether an actor, director, or even a genre. As I continue research for the book and conduct interviews, I expect to record podcast episodes with people involved with the company. You can find the podcast at cinejourneys.com or wherever you find podcasts, and we are proud to be members of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Goddamn musical and just had him break into song. What isn't that the weird thing? And I noticed that in almost all of these movies is the music isn't organic like a musical. So like in Rocky Horror, right? Yes, there are some acts in that movie like Time Warp, which is they're performing it, so it makes sense the way they present it, but there are other things that are just songs like Touch Me. In almost all of the Elvis movies I've watched this month, they're all these like on-stage performances like in I Love Lucy, right? That's essentially what this reminds me of. Like Ricky Ricardo never really sang unless he was on stage.
Right.
Elvis never sings unless he's on stage, except for in King Creole at the beginning of the movie, he's singing a song, Crawfish, which is like the best song I've heard this entire month. And it's also the best part of that movie because it's an organic song. These don't feel like musicals, and what they feel like is movies with musical performances to break up the action. We
kind of dug into that on the Camp Rock episode to bring that up. Yeah. And that difference between those kind of, that was the same type of thing, or that was more of a...
That had a little bit of both.
That was more confusing because you think it's that musical thing where people just break out in song, but then you see in one or two shots, oh no, there's a band back there performing. Right, okay. Right. So this is supposed to be realistic. And that's how this is presented in this one. I'm not having watched, I've seen clips from numerous Elvis movies, and it's generally, oh, hey, the band starts and I'm going to run up onto the stage and start singing. So I don't know how many.
Or he's literally a singer.
A singer. Yeah.
Movie.
Right.
Yeah.
But you mentioned his name, and that is the thing that cracked me up throughout the whole movie that Windgren. It is the worst last, and I apologize to anybody that has that as a real last name because I'm not bashing your name, but it's the worst mumbly name to give a character in a movie. All I could think of every time somebody said it, first of all, I'm like, well, what's his last name? And then I'm like, oh, this is like rural juror. This is a rural juror thing.
Yeah.
Every time somebody says Wingren, it's just like a mumble of syllables.
You are the first friend of mine who has ever made a rural juror joke. And thank you for that. I now know that you have also watched probably that show all the way through.
Yes.
Rurger. That is one of the greatest big gags from that entire show.
That was all I could think of every time somebody said his last name. I'm like, why? Why Windgren? Windgren. It's hard to say.
Rurger. The Rurger. God. Well, what I also love, when I was watching this with my wife, she was like, why isn't his name just Elvis?
Just Elvis. Or just Mike. Or just whatever.
Like, give him just very generic, like Mike. Okay, Mike. Like the problem is, I think to my wife's point, he doesn't look like a Mike. He looks
right.
He looks like an. I mean, let's think about it this way. Think about fucking Purple Rain. Who does Prince play? He plays himself. Essentially, Purple Rain is like a movie about how Prince became Prince, right?
But what's his name in that movie? I don't remember.
Remember because essentially, my point is
Mike Windgren.
My point, I think my wife's point is there's no way that I can't just see this guy as Elvis. He's so big. It's like, why not just make him Elvis?
Well, that's part of the thing about these films and why it's just all Hollywood artifice to me, because you can't, and I think it would have been really hard even back then to separate that and go, oh, this is a guy playing a character. It's like, well, no, that's Elvis on stage, singing at every opportunity.
Which is why I love something like Spice World or Hard Day's Night or Head. That's the band as the band in a fictional version of the band. But again, I have that frame of reference to say the Spice World movie, they're all playing the characters that I assume that they are.
Right.
Or Hard Day's Night, same thing. Like, I get it. These Elvis movies, it's like, I cannot take you seriously.
Right.
Period. Because I know who you are. You are too... Elvis is too big of a thing. It would be like Michael Jackson being in a movie. Michael Jackson was never in movies for what reason? Because the only time he was in anything, he essentially played himself. I mean, that's the smooth criminal moonwalker thing. He was playing Michael Jackson.
Yeah. No, yeah, I totally agree. It would be interesting.
It's distracting that Elvis is in these movies. Is essentially what I'm saying. These movies are distracting because Elvis is in them.
It would have been interesting to have that kind of, and it wouldn't have had to have been a sort of spoofy. I mean, because when I think of Hard Day's Night and Help, they were kind of taking the piss out of their own myth.
Do it to yourself so someone can't do it to you.
And it would be interesting to have seen something like that with Elvis. I don't think he would have done something where he would have played with his image.
Elvis was too goddamn self-serious, right?
So, but it would have been interesting.
Beatles, those goddamn Beatles, baby. Nixon, make me a sheriff. Let me take him down.
But that's the thing. That's the interesting thing about the timing of this film. It came out right after Kennedy was assassinated, and was a hit. I get, it did good numbers, and probably that might have been part of the reason why, to escape that awful event in history. But it wasn't too long before the Beatles exploded and were on Ed Sullivan, and Elvis was, getting ready to see.
Elvis was your mom and dad's music is essentially what it became. Right?
My mom and dad's music was Johnny Mathis. They weren't even cool enough to. I know.
No, but you know what I mean. Like, all of a sudden, Elvis became passé to the kids of the day. So look, my mom is in that generation who both loves Elvis and loves the Beatles. So she's that age she was that age at that 63 right moment in time. My mom loves Elvis. My mom loves the Beatles. Because you don't have to be one. You don't have to be one or the other. I am one or the other, but can you imagine growing up at that time and place and not knowing that you are growing up at the same time as two of the greatest musical acts ever. It's like mind-blowing to me in a way.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Like, Elvis is coming out with new music and the Beatles at almost their, like, peaks. Like, good God in heaven. Man,
yeah.
60s were a wild time to be alive.
Best decade for music.
I would say nobody's going to look back on 2021 and be like, can you imagine where you were when TikTokers were becoming musicians? Like, yeah, no, I cannot. I mean, look, the fucking insane thing is they're doing stuff like this today. That He's All That movie has a TikTok musician in it. How is that any different than this?
Right. Yeah. I mean,
you would think that, like, somehow these things would not be
Camp Rock.
But,
Camp Rock was a vehicle for the Jonas Brothers. And
it's true. And
what's
Demi
her face?
Lovato. Yeah.
I always want to say Selena Gomez.
Demi Lovato.
But that's why the Beatles... That's why the Beatles did Hard Day's Night, because Elvis did movies. So let's do a movie. I mean, it's just a cycle and a circle, and a time is a flat circle and whatever. Yeah.
Okay, Rustin Cole.
Nothing new under the sun.
So with this movie, you have Elvis pursuing two different women, Ursula Andress, yes, of Dr. No fame, and Elsa Cárdenas as well. She plays a female bullfighter.
Ooh la la.
Ursula Andress plays the daughter of the chef of the resort that they're at, who I guess just wants his daughter to marry Elvis so that he can go to America, because they don't have good food in America.
His quote was, "America's a wasteland."
Yeah, they just
and I was like,
the Indians. Like,
ooh, we're getting political here in an Elvis movie.
You get him, Elvis.
There were some jabs at the at America in the film. It would be interesting, and I thought about this. You know, if someone were to look at a film like this and kind of dissect that whole multicultural aspect of the film, because I always am a little bit worried when I watch a movie that takes place in a foreign land with American leads as to how that culture is going to be depicted. And it had a little bit of that, you know, exotic foreigner thing to it.
It had a lot of it. Come on.
It didn't put me off.
Setting it in Acapulco is kind of on the nose on itself, isn't it? Like, Acapulco sounds very exotic. They didn't set it in Tijuana, like, hey,
right.
It's fun in Tijuana. Like, what the fuck movie is that?
That could have been a little bit more sketchy, just because Acapulco's a resort town and has been for a long time. So
I don't know what goes on in Tijuana.
They didn't take a lot of jabs at the locals, I didn't think, other than maybe that band of musicians that is on the boat at the beginning of the film and that we see later in the bar. They were a little bit, they were brushed a little broadly, you know, painted a little broadly. But I was expecting more cringy moments than there were, and was surprised by the subtle anti-Americanism strewn throughout by the characters, not by Elvis, obviously, but by the other characters. And I think his comeback at one point was, what did he say? I think I have it written down. We can always depend on foreigners to point out our faults. And I was like, yeah. That's how it was back then. Today, we've started to point out our own faults, you know, instead of having that.
Nobody seems to like that very much now, do they?
Right. Nobody likes it, but at least there are people willing to do it instead of this, you know, diehard nationalism kind of crap.
Whoa, now, careful. This is a pro-America podcast, sir.
Sorry.
Get your double speak out my show, sir. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Elvis is like the personification of America in a lot of ways. Like, from how he started to how he made his music to how he died and how he lived.
Yeah.
He is the embodiment of American excess, almost to a fault.
I just always, whenever I think of Elvis these days, I just think of Public Enemy's Fight the Power and how when I first saw Do the Right Thing and that song came out and they were taking, John Wayne to task, Elvis Presley to task. And
hello and welcome to Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys. My name is Hunter. In this podcast, I'll be joined by a different guest each week to discuss a classic Western movie or TV show. I've been a fan of classic Westerns for as long as I can remember, and in recent years, they've become very nostalgic for me. I love the aesthetic, the tropes, and I love seeing different filmmakers' takes on them. At their best, they're incredibly entertaining, rewatchable, and some of my all-time favorite movies are Westerns. We'll mostly focus on Western movies made in Hollywood, but we'll also be covering spaghetti Westerns, and one thing I'm very excited to get into are Western TV shows. I've got some amazing guests coming on the show, film professors, historians, and podcasters, and Tumbleweeds and TV Cowboys is part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, and many guests on the show will be from other shows on the network. Thanks for listening.
It gave me kind of a, whoa, wait a minute, what? And then you were like, yeah, okay, right. These guys aren't heroes to a lot of people in this country. Right. And then you have to kind of dig into why, if you weren't presented that information when you were younger and go, oh yeah, this is fucked up. I'm going to steal your music and become this ginormous entity because of it and not give credit where credit is due and all, so on and so forth.
I think for me, the issue also stems from this thing of if we talk about it realistically, which I know you and I will, let's talk about it realistically. Everybody, every artist at that time, every artist that could was doing it, right? White artists were co-opting, stealing, plagiarizing African American artists. That's just what was happening. 9 times out of 10, it goes nowhere. Then you have Elvis, right? 10 times out of 10, it goes nowhere. And then you have Elvis, who essentially redefines what that means, right? Essentially, he redefines music. Like you said, the king of rock and roll thing ends up being the king of rock and roll asterisk, but a lot of people helped get him there that he never gave credit to. And
I don't even know if I'd say helped.
Yeah, and that's the issue here is everybody was doing it. Elvis just happened to be the guy who was the one guy who got so successful it really mattered that he was doing it. Everybody else was just doing it, and it didn't matter because nobody was being successful.
Yeah.
Elvis was the guy who said, I'm the guy.
Yeah. I mean, it's all luck and happenstance as to why it was him. And
why Elvis and not somebody else.
Right. But
because he had a look. Because look at him.
Right. Well, I mean, if you put a picture of him next to Buddy Holly, you can kind of understand why, although I prefer Buddy Holly to Elvis personally. But so as far as the songs go, and I may have missed the first couple, but I thought, you know what, I should start writing down the songs in this as they come up and my reaction to them. So I don't know about you. I didn't care for most of the songs in this, and I didn't care for them because they sounded like really watered down Latin music that would be played. It's like Muzak to me, as far as the actual music of the songs, not so much the lyrics and all that. And so I think the only one that I cared for, other than Bossa Nova, which is I think the most well-known song in there, was There's No Room for Rumba in a. So I didn't write down the full title. There was one where when he was in the car with the bullfighter.
No room to Rumba in a sports car.
In a sports car. And I was like, oh, this one isn't too bad. But other than that, I did not care for the music in this movie at all.
No, I am right there with you. It is without a doubt the worst of the month. This is the worst movie this month by a long shot, and this is also the worst music of the month by a long shot. It is really just so uniform in not only its presentation, but also its execution. Almost all the songs sound the same. Except for Bossa Nova Baby. And
right.
Elvis's version of Bossa Nova Baby is also still pretty watered down, too. Like, from where that song would end up going with other people, like, it's a pretty mild starting point to begin with.
Yeah, just most of the songs just made me think of his Las Vegas act. Like, they're just really mayonnaise-y.
Cheeseball.
White guy versions of these songs. And
And I think Elvis is
at least they're short.
I think Elvis is a talented singer. I really do.
Oh yeah.
But like this would not lead you to believe that if you had never seen this before. If you didn't know who Elvis was and you watch these movies, you wouldn't be like, "Oh, this guy's a talented singer." You'd be like, "He'd be a good lounge act."
Yeah.
That's what it sounds. It almost is lounge act.
Yeah.
It's very lounge act.
That's what I was trying to formulate in my head. Yeah.
Well, and no one has set it up until this point this month, and a lot of these songs have verged on it. But this song selection and this movie in particular is like, boy, this is just, even something like Roustabout or Girl Happy, which are later than this movie. This movie is just the most lounge act pastiche, just, and I like the tiki pastiche, I really do. But man, ugh.
Yeah, no, the music did very little for me. That was, I think, obviously the big pull in these movies, but if they had all been excised, it would have worked for me a little bit better, just to have the kind of goofy story that's going on with the ex-trapeze artist who killed his own brother and is now afraid of heights. So we get all those shots of the diving board and his foe, Moreno, and foil.
But don't take this the wrong way with the movie. It's not a serious movie at all.
No, it's not a serious movie.
I know, and like what's weird is like the backstory that they give the character is not a funny backstory. Like,
no, it's not. Which weird. Is what makes it funny.
Yeah, because like King Creole is a serious movie. Like the one of the characters dies at the end of the movie, gets shot to death. There's no one getting shot to death in this movie. There's like a "Hey buddy" handshake at the end, and it's
right.
Like very cornball, very cheesy. Like it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And like, but hey, the movie just hangs a lantern on it and goes along its merry fucking way. But yeah, there's a trapeze accident in this movie that like just tonally makes no sense.
Well,
couldn't figure out any other way to kill off this guy's brother than the most fucking convoluted way possible.
Well, or to just have him have a fear of heights. It didn't need to be because of that. And that brings up the Moreno thing. And you mentioned the two female leads in this who Elvis is going back and forth with. And one of them is the girlfriend, or he thinks she's his girlfriend, of this Moreno. And so I was actually kind of entertained by that quadrangle, that love quadrangle between them. And Moreno at some point is like, well, if he's going to go after my girl, I'm going to go after his girl. And, you know, it plays out the obvious way that everybody thinks it's going to play out. But I was entertained by that little addition there. It was telling, though, that Elvis was just kind of like, kept telling Moreno when he would say, "Hey, leave my girl alone." And he's like, "Oh, I will if she tells me that." He's like, "Fuck you, dude." Basically, I'm going to go after this girl. If she's got a problem with it, she can tell me. I don't give a shit if she's with you or not.
Yeah.
And that attitude was to me like, oh, you know, this is the kind of guy that I hated in high school. Like, she can tell me that. Fuck you. I don't care. You mean nothing to me. You're in the way. Get out of my way. Plus I'm going to, you know, try and screw this bullfighter chick who's hotter than hell. So,
I mean, Elvis is charismatic, right?
Yeah.
He's kind of a prick, right?
In that context he is. And it seems like he's trying to be the nice guy through the rest of the movie.
But he's a prick.
But in this aspect, he's just like, fuck you, dude. I want Ursula Andress. He's sweet with the kid, you know, and all his goofy manager tricks that he's pulling to get Mike, you know, to perform and make all this money and help him out. He's even at the beginning of the film with the girl, the daughter of the owner of that boat that he's working on. So when the movie starts, he's working on this boat as a boat hand or whatever they're called.
Sure.
And she's underage. She's in this bar and she throws Mike Windgren under the bus, gets him fired. Raul, the precocious kid, comes to his rescue and gets him these jobs as a singer in these different clubs, gets him the job as the lifeguard.
Because Elvis
so on and so forth.
to do any of this on his own.
Right.
I guess so.
He gets this little kid's help.
A small goddamn child, like a child, like a 7 or 8 year old.
He's the precocious kid. Come on. This is a wonderful.
Way more precocious than any realistic child ever should be.
Well, his line, he's like, "Are you sure you're not a 40-year-old midget?" To the kid at one point when he's listening to him. He's wheeling and dealing on the phone, calling the different clubs, trying to get his price raised. And Elvis is just kind of sitting there looking at him like, what in the hell are you?
Yeah.
Who are you?
Yeah, it's like very unrealistic. I mean, that's the best character in the movie.
Yeah, that's the stuff that I liked, is the stuff with the kid. And when he seemed genuinely affectionate to him and caring about him, even though get out of my life, kid, because I'm trying to screw these chicks.
Right.
But he was nice for the most part, except when it came to conquering these women.
Well, and the other weird thing is the bad guy or the villain of the movie, Moreno, just Elvis knocks him out, and that's it. Then he does the cliff dive, and that's it. And he's like, "You won my respect." It's like, okay. All right, like, you are muted.
That was a pretty good fight in the hotel, though, I must say.
Yeah.
And I mean, obviously,
never addressed. He beats the shit out of him, and he's like, "Now you have my respect." Like, what? Like, you just had your ass beat by him. Like, you're just gonna let that? Okay.
Well, I think he knew he was outmatched.
Well, yeah. Nobody. Come on, I mean, Elvis wasn't doing the kung fu yet, though. But I mean, we're 2 years removed from him doing it in Roustabout, so he does the literal stereotypical, like, Elvis, like, karate hands thing. So he's not doing it here.
Not yet. It was just a good old fashioned fist fight, and pretty well choreographed and executed.
Yeah.
Especially for this movie, that the rest of it is pretty bottom of the barrel, really cheap rear projection stuff. That's
Elvis definitely not jumping off the cliffs in Acapulco.
Yeah. And there were even a couple.
Clearly not Elvis jumping off the cliff.
Yeah, that guy, whoever they got as a body double, they never stood next to each other because
this guy's got brown hair.
They didn't match that very well at all. It is kind of fascinating, though, to watch films like that and see the cuts, see the movie magic happening where, okay, he was just standing in an obvious set or in front of a rear projection screen, and then cut to Ursula Andress and Alejandro Rey walking away on a real beach in Acapulco. And that stuff always.
Have you ever wanted to dive deeper into the horror movies you love? Beyond the Blood is a horror podcast for fans who want more than just surface level screams. We do deep dives into the movies that shaped us, digging into director commentaries, behind the scenes stories, deleted scenes, and the special features that most people skip. Each episode is a love letter to the genre. We break down how these films were made, the creative risks that paid off or didn't, and the lasting impact they've had on the genre as a whole. From 70s slashers to modern nightmares, we celebrate the craft, chaos, and characters that keep us coming back. If you're the kind of fan who rewatches movies with the commentary on, or you simply grew up in the video store horror aisle, the Beyond the Blood podcast was made for you. New episodes every single week. Subscribe, and let's dig deep. Welcome to the Beyond the Blood podcast.
Kind of fascinates me. When I first started realizing how movies were actually made when I was, a lot younger, and knowing that there weren't 10 cameras rolling during every shot of a film to catch all the angles, and going, oh yeah, that's why there aren't any cameras in this angle, because they do this stuff all one at a time and piece it together. So that stuff piques my interest when I'm watching a movie that is not all that interesting otherwise, but it's just so obvious in this that it becomes just sort of part of the joke after a while. Like, okay, studio, rear projection. There was one shot even of two of the older characters. I think one was one of the club owners, and maybe they were both club owners. They were in a pool, and then they swim up to the edge of the pool, and now it's not them in a pool anymore. It's them in front of a rear projection of a pool. And I'm like, why? These were the people that were actually in Acapulco for filming but I don't know, maybe it was a pickup shot later or something. I don't know, but
it looks the part of a cheap movie.
Yeah, it really doesn't help with the selling of Elvis being in Acapulco doing any of this stuff, because he obviously wasn't there.
Literally could not be there.
Literally couldn't be there. Persona non grata in Mexico at the time. So
because people really loved his movies and went apeshit for them.
Yeah, that's what I read. And then the rumors that were started about things that he had said.
And Elvis maybe being
racist?
Any way you cut it.
I would be curious to see either hear on a podcast or read someone dissect that aspect of the film, the cultural aspects of the film, and also just the machinations of the Elvis Presley filmography and why they even happened. And, did anybody take any of this stuff seriously? You can see it's like a movie in a Coen Brothers film or something where they're spoofing on Hollywood and, these guys in a writer's room trying to write the next Elvis movie. I mean, you can see it playing out in your head, just how cynical it all is.
Oh, yeah. And it's just like, what's the next generic scenario we can put him in?
Hey, let's have him be a trapeze artist who kills his brother and ends up in Acapulco and has a fear of heights and wants to screw two ladies, and we got to have either a kid or an orphan or whatever it is in Barton Fink, an orphan or an idiot man child be his his spirit guide through the film or whatever. Yeah, if Barton Fink had to write an Elvis Presley movie, he would have gone insane.
Well, it's just the cynicism surrounding stuff like this is palpable. I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
It's just
especially in this and not
like
having
a product because it is a product.
Exactly. And not having I didn't do like I did for the body swap movies. I didn't watch all the Elvis movies you watch. I don't have anything to compare them to really, but if the other ones are as cynical as this, I just can't see how people other than fans really getting much out of these films.
Maybe it is for the fans.
And he had plenty of fans to where they're going to be a success. Exactly. So that's
your
the most.
Your opinion is wrong, and you should feel wrong.
That's the most cynical part of it.
I mean, that's what it feels like. These movies weren't made for us.
Oh yeah,
they're made for fans of Elvis, and I like Elvis just fine. I like Elvis's music. I think Elvis is a talented performer, but
there you go.
I don't want to watch these Elvis movies no more. I mean, look. I'm good. If somebody was like, let's watch an Elvis movie, would I say no? I would probably watch it just, to see the cornball factor of it. Because these are fucking cornball. Real cornball. But am I going to program another month next year of Elvis follow-ups? No. Frankly, I think that there is something to be mined from you and I watching that Kurt Russell Elvis thing.
Yeah, if you can track it down, man, I'll fucking watch that thing.
Yeah, maybe, you know what, maybe we'll leave the listeners with, maybe there'll be a bonus on Patreon if you want to hear that. Because I want to watch that. I've never seen it, and you know what, it's probably good. Better than this,
I mean,
which is not, that wouldn't be hard.
I think that came out a year or so after he died, so I would have been 10-ish. I mean, there's some things that I saw when I was 10 that I still like today. Sometimes I realize...
You're a fan of Kurt Russell.
Yeah, and I liked him. I don't know if I recognized him from the Disney movies at that point or not, but I remember liking it.
You're a Kurt Russell in Disney movies fan.
Oh, yeah. I loved those movies when I was a kid. Loved them.
We may be covering one of those movies next year.
Oh, no. Don't tell anybody.
It's always a secret.
We might be.
We don't tell anyone ahead of time.
They don't hold up as well as I remember them, but some things do, and I have a feeling that the Elvis Carpenter Russell movie probably holds up maybe a little bit better than the Disney movies.
I guess as a final aside with this movie, does this movie even hold up as a movie now? Is this even hold up? Like, is there a reason for someone other than a fan of Elvis to watch this movie? That's the question that I think we have to answer before we finish this out. Because I don't think we've answered that on any... I would say yes on King Creole. That movie justifies its existence. Girl Happy and Roustabout, you could make cases. But this one being as kind of cynically created as almost a product, less a movie-going experience, I would say this movie does not justify its existence.
I would say if it had a really stellar soundtrack, if there was one aspect of the movie that stood out, then overall, yes, maybe it's for... I mean, other than the songs, I can't really think of much else to justify it.
How did we not talk about the fact that they set this movie in Acapulco and they knew Elvis couldn't go to Acapulco?
Yeah, that was the one thing that I was curious about.
Not even brought that up. Like, that's so fucking insane. It almost feels like they were just trying to see what they could get away with. Like, how much of this do we have to really have Elvis do? Like, what's the least amount of work Elvis can do? Just stand in front of some rear protection.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, and if you're going to do... See, that's why I would be curious for someone to do, and I am not the person to do this, nor would I want to take that deep dive into the whys, wheres, and hows on this, because we've talked in the past, and I know I bring it up every once in a while, like where an idea originates from. This could have been a script about, I mean, that story of a guy accidentally killing it could have been like a serious script, a drama or something, and it's Paramount's property, so they take it. This becomes the next Elvis vehicle,
right?
And so we squeeze in however, I don't know how many songs there were, like 10 songs or something like that. Yeah. Throw these songs in, blah blah blah. So it'd be interesting to know, and in the very limited research I did, I didn't see an indication of that. If it was a property that they owned and they shoehorned it into an Elvis vehicle, and why the setting couldn't be changed to another kind of resort town. Was it because, the songs were all written already? Yeah, it doesn't make sense to set it in a place where he couldn't go. Because, well, Cuba was closed at this time. So, I mean, it could have been a Caribbean movie. I'm trying to think of other...
Fun in Port-au-Prince.
I'm trying to think of other...
Fun in Kingston.
Tropical resort things.
Sun in St. John's. Or Fun in St. John's.
Had he already done a Hawaii movie at this point?
Yes. Blue Hawaii was 61.
I don't know. So, yeah.
They would do another Hawaii movie, Paradise Hawaiian Style, in 66.
See, that to me would make sense. And I'm just trying to think of other resort. I mean, you could go further into South America. I don't know. There had to have been stuff was already there. Either the songs or the script. Why the script locale couldn't be... Yeah, who knows?
I don't get it, but why would you set a movie somewhere that Elvis could not go?
Yeah, it's right. And that's what I was thinking when I was reading this. Like, he couldn't go there? Then why is it fun in Acapulco?
So Elvis had so much fun in Acapulco, he could not return.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably true for a lot of people.
So, Mr. Begley, skip it or watch it to Fun in Acapulco.
I mean, I'm never going to watch this movie again. So, take that for what it's worth.
Yeah. I'm not going to give an answer, but I ain't even watching this shit again. I'm definitely in the skip it camp. It kind of, for me, is exactly what I was expecting. This is the Elvis thing that I was expecting. And I don't think that this wasn't what you were expecting either.
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, or I don't know if I should say that. I wasn't as miserable as I was expecting to be while watching it. So I think I mentioned before we started recording that Elvis is fine as an actor. Again, unable to compare him. I've seen bits of Viva Las Vegas, I should say. And I've, seen scenes from Jailhouse Rock. I've seen scenes from a lot of the different films. These played a lot when I was a kid, but I just never sat through them. I would catch it and then try to find a kung fu movie or a horror movie to watch instead. He was fine as an actor, serviceable, not bad or still. I mean, the charisma comes through, I think, regardless.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah, there
wasn't that against Elvis. Elvis is a charismatic guy through and through.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a whole lot of nothing to me. And I couldn't escape the artifice and the cynicism of this just basically being a product, just kind of like how we boiled down Camp Rock as being a Disney Channel vehicle for, some teeny boppers 40 years later. It's same. It's cut from the same cloth as far as I'm concerned.
And you know what? It was immensely successful for both. So
yeah, I would probably watch this before I watched Camp Rock again, but I'm not looking to watch either of them anytime soon.
It's fair. So on that note, we'll take a break and we'll play a preview for the first Kulturecast of Horror-tober year 7.
Horror-tober.
Hello, this is Chris Haskell from They Live by Film. For those that don't know us, Adam, Zach, and we built a podcast over the last 2 years that's a combination of film discussion from 3 very different perspectives, as well as industry interviews with the leaders in boutique Blu-ray and 4K community. We started with Deaf Crocodile, but over time we've been lucky enough to speak with Arrow Video, Severin, Mondo Macabro, Vinegar Syndrome, Radiance, Indicator, most of the OCN partner labels. It's been a blast. You can find us wherever you podcast, and also actually recently as part of Someone's Favorite Production Podcast Network. We hope to see you online.
Noi discendiamo da una ininterrotta catena di assassini, il cui amore per uccidere era nel loro sangue, come forse è nel nostro.
Una donna è stata uccisa mezz'ora fa, vicino all'aeroporto.
Un'altra donna uccisa?
Sì, è sempre a Rasoiate.
Ho paura. Ah! C'era qualcuno nel garage, ha cercato di uccidermi con un rasoio.
Tu mi lusinghi, Julie. Davvero pensi che io sia capace di tagliare la gola a tante donne?
Certo è che il sangue ha uno strano effetto su di lei, come di attrazione e ribrezzo insieme.
L'odio è un bel sentimento, violento, rovente, come e più dell'amore.
Le farò provare ebbrezza, paura e grandi tuffi al cuore.
Naturale. Volevi andarci a letto e la paura di Jean ti ha fornito la scusa.
Ho avuto modo di vedere che lei è un'amante deliziosa, con deviazioni molto interessanti e insospettate anche dal suo onesto marito.
Niente unisce di più di un vizio in comune.
Perché pensa che sia lui l'omicida che stiamo cercando?
Perché non prova a controllare l'alibi della signora Ward?
Forse è da me stessa che devo fuggire.
Horror-tober?
Horror-tober, brother.
Chris, you're just going...
I know, Roger, dude. Horror-tober is about as bad, is it not? Horror-tober.
That's a hard one.
Yeah. On the next episode of the Kulturecast, we're going to be talking about The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward, which is a giallo movie, yes?
Yes, it is.
You're shaking your head. Yes. I've never
pretty good one.
Oh, good. Well, I'm excited to watch it. I have not seen a whole lot of giallo. This will be the second attempt at a giallo month since 2017. It's been a while since we've circled back to giallo. We've gone all the way around the world. We even had a pandemic since then. Wow. Isn't that exciting? And we'll be joined by Maggie and Jess. So yeah, come back for that one. Until then, Mr. Begley, if people were looking for you on the internet, if the helicopter was over your house,
yeah, that finally went away.
Where would they be able to find you?
You can find me at wakeupheavy.com. That is my website that has entries for all the shows or all the episodes that I put out. The show is hosted by SoundCloud, so you can listen to it there, and it should be on all major podcast platforms. You can find me on social media at Wake Up Heavy, I believe, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It's all the same handle. And shortly, starting in October, I will be doing a series on 3 early horror films from Alan Ormsby and Bob Clark. And the first one on Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things should be out around the same time as this, maybe check in a week or so, with Mike White from Projection Booth Podcast and Heather Drain. Chris will be joining Mike and I in November for Deranged, Confessions of a Necrophile.
That's great.
That's
we're not talking about me.
Yeah. And in December, we'll round out the series on Death Dream with Mike again and Sam Deegan. So you've got that to look forward to, plus whatever little odds and ends I throw out in the meantime, plus whatever Chris and I cook up in October for the Kulturecast.
It's true. You didn't give him your Parler handle. Did you change it?
That is...
Did you change it?
BBC...
Oh, God. XXX420, XXX69. That one's already probably taken.
Yeah. I had
knowing those folks.
I had to find the right combination to get that one to work.
Yeah. As for me, cstachiw.com is my link tree. That's where you can go to listen to all the things that I work on, which is a lot of things. Lots of episodes of lots of shows, including a new upcoming show. I guess this is the first time I'm talking about it. Columbo podcast coming to a listening area near you. Mike one day said we're doing it, and I said yes. Because you don't say no to Mike White. That's what I've learned.
No, not if you want. Not if you care about your kneecaps.
Not if you care about your ability to hold a conversation with the best podcaster that I know. So I think the best podcaster that all of us know. So yeah, no, I will be on that podcast coming very soon. As for you, Mr. Begley, thank you so much for joining me and rounding out this month. Elvis was not something I thought I would be covering when I gave Father Malone the task of programming the month, and I'm glad I watched him. I'll put it that way. So
it never hurts. This is where I go to expand my horizons. So. And disappoint your listeners.
It's like Event Horizon. That was this episode. We pushed our horizon too far.
Yeah, now we're in hell.
Yeah. Oh boy. And yeah, make sure to catch up. Make sure to catch us on the next episode.